Yes.
Welcome to the Maryland Soccerplex. Michael alongside Danielle Malagari. And Danielle, one last item on the to-do list of the Spirits Olympians, and that's 3 points tonight against Sky Blue FC before they head off to Rio.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think I read earlier that this is kind of the midway point for the NWSL.
Yep.
So, it really is important for either teams, really, to get 3 points in this game moving forward, especially for Sky Blue. So we hope to see this evening a really good match, considering Sky Blue's coming off one of their best performances against Seattle last weekend, and then, the Spirit kind of getting back into the groove with the win against Orlando.
Yeah, after tonight, everybody in the league will have played 10 games except for, of course, the Spirit in Houston, who had a rain out.
Right.
So midway point of the season, as you said, Danielle, and the Spirit come in fourth place, but with those 2 matches in hand on 17 points, 3 points behind undefeated Portland, and just 1 point behind Chicago and Western New York.
Right, yeah, so this is a big game for them. If they do get the 3 points out of the match, they will be even at the top of the table, and with a game to go. So I think this is a good scenario for the Spirit to be in right now.
And for Sky Blue FC, who come in right now in 7th place on 10 points, it's time to start turning it around if you want to make the playoffs.
Exactly. So, and these 3 points are huge, especially, like I said, at the midway point in the season, because 30 points gets you pretty much into playoff standings. And this is going to be a huge game, a huge amount of points for them if they're able to pull it off for Sky Blue. Captains
Christy Rampone and Ali Krieger sharing a hug at midfield, and we'll go through the lineups that will play next to them and behind them. For Sky Blue FC, it's Caroline Stanley in goal, starting for the 8th straight game. The back four, the Sky Blue FC tweeted out a lineup that was incorrect, so this is the best guess from us. Erin Simon, Kristen Grubka, Christy Rampone, and Erica Skrosky across the back. Kelly O'Hare was warming up at forward in warm-ups.
Yeah, she was. I know. They were kind of throwing us some curveballs out there during warm-ups when we were watching them. But, we'll keep going and then we'll talk.
Raquel Rodriguez, Sarah Killian, Leah Galton, and Taylor Lido, the midfield, and then O'Hara, we expect, partnering Natasha Kai up top.
Yeah, we weren't sure if she was going to be wide or up top, so we'll see, once we get out there. But O'Hara and Kai, let's see what they're able to put and what type of pressure they're able to put on the Spirit back line this evening. 2
kind of generations of attacking players for the U.S. Women's National Team playing together.
I'm sure they'll feed off of each other well.
For the Spirit, it's the same 11 that took out Orlando 2-0 last week. Stephanie LeBay in goal already has set the franchise shutout record with 5. Alyssa Kleiner, Shalina Zadorsky, Megan Oyster, Allie Krieger across the back. Diana Matheson in midfield with Tori Huster and Christine Narin. And up front, Crystal Dunn on the left, where she started last week. Francisco Ortega, who scored in her first start of the year as the center forward. And then Estefania Benini, who got her first NWSL goal on the right.
Oh, yeah. I think Gabera is really happy with this lineup going forward, obviously using it 2 weeks in a row. But even with that center midfielder has been working. They've been working together for a couple of years now, so they're really, really solid. So now, hopefully, moving forward, they can continue to build that into the front line.
Just out of your picture, O'Hara's on the midfield line on the right side, so she's definitely going to be in an attacking role, whether it's as a wide midfielder or as a forward, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm assuming she's probably going to start as an outside right midfielder and did give Kleiner a lot of trouble on that left flank.
So once again, it's Stanley, Simon, Grubka, Rempone, Skrosky, Rodriguez, Killian, Galton, Lido, Kai, and O'Hara for Sky Blue FC. LeBay, Kleiner, Zadorsky, Oyster, Krieger, Matheson, Huster, Narin, Dunn, Ortega, and Benini for Washington. Sky Blue FC wearing fittingly the Sky Blues tonight with the black shorts and Sky Blue socks going from left to right here in the first half of the Spirit. In familiar home blues with the red on the shoulders, red shorts, red socks, and they've played every home match but one this year in that uniform, and the one they didn't was the one they tied against Portland. So,
all right, never again, I guess.
That's right. Like the greens for Notre Dame, you never want to wear them again if they're bad luck. Grubko winning a header, 50-50 ball fought forward by the rookie Raquel Rodriguez for Sky Blue FC. Now it's Lido charging forward, stepped up and won by Megan Oyster. Played into space and too far for Francisco Ortega.
So it seems just by looking at the lineup right now that Lido is maybe starting up top with Kaya, and then O'Hara is going to keep that wide right midfield position.
Almost looks like a 4-5-1 at times with Kai as the lone forward as well.
Sure.
Throw now for Washington and Allie Krieger. Ortega dropping it back for Benini. Early cross from Krieger, who scored in the first meeting between these two clubs, and too far for Crystal Dunn. Well, all you have to do, Danielle, to see the impact of these national team players is look back at the first meeting. A goal for Allie Krieger and a goal for Diana Matheson.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to be, and this team faced it last year, obviously a different coaching staff, but anytime these players are gone for the World Cup or Olympics or any sort of international match, everyone has to be able to fill in a role, and that's what they use the training sessions for, to see who can fill in where and how everyone is going to, be placed once these players are on international duty.
Matheson for the overlapping Krieger, tries the early cross blocked by Chrissy Rampone. Second chance for Benini. Finds Matheson, give and go in the box too far, and Stanley will get her first real touch of this one. That was about where Allie Krieger scored from at Urisac Field a couple weeks ago. A right-footed cross from the right wing into the sun that was misplayed by the goalkeeper Caroline Casey and went in for the Spirit's first goal. And then the goal in the second half, a great feed from Crystal Dunn. Matheson first time nutmegged the goalkeeper to make it 2-0. And then Maya Hayes, who's not injured tonight, scored the lone goal for Sky Blue FC. Hayes and Danielle Schulman, the players scratched for Sky Blue FC tonight. Sam Kerr is here and dressed, listed as doubtful after the off-season left foot surgery. She's played just 15 minutes this year. Sarah Killian on the ball now for Sky Blue FC, finding Taylor Lytle. Kai making the run to her left. Instead, the pass is behind the rookie out of Hofstra, Leah Galson, and out for a Spirit throw. Chip up the right side for Matheson. Stays in play and will be watched out now by Rampone. And Danielle, watching that game last week, the thing that struck me about that Spirit team was not only did they get that 2-0 lead, but they really did a nice job of putting their foot on that game, not allowing Orlando to get a lot of chances to get back into it.
Of course, and that's what you want to do, especially, they do always say 2-0 is the hardest lead to have in soccer because one goal and the other team is in it. But as soon as you score early like they did and then you solidify it with a second goal in the first half, that's a really hard deficit to come back from. So I'm sure, that was the game plan going into the second half last week.
And I think why the Spirit like this front line is you have a lot of pace between Benini and Ortega and Dunn, where those defenders never get comfortable in their own skin and have trouble playing out of the back. Sky Blue FC trying to do that right now, and Rampone, the veteran, finding Raquel Rodriguez, the rookie. Right, it comes for O'Hara, left now for the run of Skrosky. Right again for O'Hara. Early cross to the far post from O'Hara, and too far for Tasha Kai, out for a goal kick. Kelly O'Hara, of course, has played many times in this series against the Spirit and had a brace on July 20th, 2014, and also scored her first NWSL goal here on May 21st, 2014. And that, I believe, was a similar situation where she started up front, was moved from defender to forward, and was successful.
Well, that's definitely something. This is a very dynamic kind of front six. But with Kai and O'Hara up there, they're really going to put pressure on the back line for the Spirit.
Shalina Zadorsky knocking it up the side. Skips by Ortega, and a handle now for the 41-year-old Christy Rampone. And talking to head coach Christy Hawley before the game, he was marveling at just the high level that Christy Rampone can play at the age of 41.
Right. Yeah, like he said before and after training, the way she takes care of her body, what she does to recover and whatnot. Like, I'm 31 years old. I can barely walk when I get out of bed in the morning. I can't imagine, what her body goes through day in and day out at her age to be able to play at this level, and it's phenomenal.
Has all but called time on her international career. Won't be in the Olympics this summer for a fourth time, but
I think she's had a pretty good career. I don't think it's anything to be upset about.
And you contrast that with, some of the other players that maybe hung on too long and kept that national team spot from somebody else. Christy Rampone has pretty much said, I don't feel like I'm quite at that level. I want to stay with my club and help them and not take a spot away from somebody else.
She's a world-class player, and she's going to see that.
Zadorsky giving away. Here's Rodriguez. Playing it right, but too far for Taylor Lytle. Raquel Rodriguez, of course, the highly touted Herman Trophy winner from Penn State from that national championship team. And Sky Blue FC traded up to get her in the draft. And she's off to a bit of a quiet start, I think, in her rookie year, but a very dangerous player.
And we've seen it over the course of this league in the last few years. Any rookie comes in, maybe, they do have some standout performances. But even with Crystal Dunn, I'll wait here.
So Ordega can't get to it, and Rampone will get it.
Even with Crystal Dunn in her rookie season, she was a little quiet, but look, then she had the the great season last year, and she just exploded on the scene. So, it was big for her. So I'm sure Rodriguez will probably play the same.
Giveaway now to Crystal Dunn, right on cue. Dunn at the top of the 18, takes the shot, it's deflected, and easily saved by the diving Caroline Stanley to her left. Crystal Dunn still searching for that first goal this year, and asked Jim Gabarra about that before the game, and he said, no worries, she's playing well, she's creating chances, the goals will come.
Mm-hmm. And like he said before the game, obviously we weren't able to show that, but, she does draw people to her, which allows another teammate to get open. So, if she's going to continue to work on developing her passing game, this is a perfect place to do it. And then at the next level, she can continue to grow as a player with the national team.
Sure, national team fans wouldn't mind if she saved 5 or 6 for Rio.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Ball over the top, trying to work in the rookie out of Hofstra, Leah Galton, marked tightly by Allie Krieger towards the sideline. Galton doubles back, plays on the floor for Rodriguez, sets up her right foot. Rodriguez is shot from deep, and Raquel Rodriguez has scored her first NWSL goal. She's settled in nicely today.
We've been known to jinx things in the past, and I think we just jinxed it with saying that she's had a quiet rookie season, but what a phenomenal goal. There's absolutely no reason why the Spirit should leave her wide open at the top of the box. The pressure has got to be there quickly, but Rodriguez did a great job at receiving it, looking up, finding far post. Almost looked like upper 90 from here, but it was a great strike by Rodriguez from the top of the box.
Great build-up as well to work that left side, play it back across into space. Rodriguez was waiting at a perfect location.
Mm-hmm.
So the Spirit give up their first goal at home in 433 minutes. And here it is. Just a good strike from distance, about 22 yards from Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. The assist given officially on the play to Leah Galton, her second of the season.
And it looked like Huster was there at the top of the 18, but just gave her a little bit too much space. Maybe if Huster stepped a little bit sooner, she maybe could have gotten something on it. The Spirit did have numbers behind the ball, but at that time, you just got to put your body in front of the ball and try to deny that shot.
Oyster under pressure from Galton, who started well. Turnover now to Tasha Kai. Early ball through. O'Hara is offside. Flag comes up here on the near side. So now the Spirit trailing for just the second time this season. The other one, of course, was the 4-1 loss at Portland back on May 21st. And how do you adjust now when you're used to being in that mentality of being ahead?
Yeah, I mean, any team is going to have to go through this. It's still really early in the game, only 8 minutes into the game, or I guess 9 minutes at this point. So they're just going to have to settle down, play their game, not get frustrated, and be, nice and simple, move the ball, try to find some good opportunities, and don't get frustrated.
Spirit entered play today having led for 49.6% of every minute they played this year. Free kick taken quickly for Krieger, who goes up the right side for Bonini. Now Nairn. Huster, first really good spell of possession from the Spirit so far, but it ends with a through ball from Huster off the mark. Game plan from Sky Blue FC so far has been very good. Spirit have really not settled in at all.
And what I actually really like about what Sky Blue is doing, especially with Kai, she's putting a lot of pressure on the backs and not really allowing them to find players forward. And they've had to send a lot of balls forward into the front line of the Spirit, and they're not really able to start possession from the back line.
Kai fighting for it there. No call here. And Zadorski shields for Kleiner to come get it. Now played right by Killian for O'Hara. Trying to split two defenders, gets the ball off to Killian. Under pressure from Matheson, she'll work it all the way back to Kristen Grubka. And she'll knock it out of bounds under pressure from Francisco Ordega.
And you see right here, you saw Kai just completely sprint up to Zadorski to not allow the Spirit to switch a point of attack through their center backs. I really appreciate the effort the Sky Blue front line is giving this evening to not allow the back line of the Spirit to play.
Kai has not been a 90-minute player this year, but on days like this, you can see that's by design.
Right.
Work hard for 55 or 60, and then you get a break.
Right.
Galton dropping it back. Here's Rampone. Still has quite a bit of pace at 41, stepping on Bonini and playing it up the side. Galton now. Dispossessed by a tackle from Bonini, and now the Spirit will blow it out of the back through Oyster. You see how far Tori Huster has to come back to get the ball right now. Now for Dunn. Matheson making the run into space. Dunn will cut inside instead, then tries to play the ball up the line. It's blocked by O'Hara. Dunn will regroup for Bonini. Now space for Nairn. Krieger. Bonini. Taken away. Now Lytle. Ball into space now for O'Hara. She'll go to work against Alyssa Kleiner here on the near sideline. Kai making the run centrally in support. Comes square for Rodriguez. For Lytle. Now drop back for Rodriguez. Trying to split Nairn and Matheson and does so. The Costa Rican goes left. Galton with work to do against Krieger. Early ball in from Simon, chested down by Oyster, and the Spirit will build it out of the back. Nearly turned over by Huster, who will just knock it out into safety for a throw-in.
Yeah, just a small mistake by Megan Oyster there. She knows better. She knows, in that situation, probably just clear it and get the ball further up the field. Try to possess further up the field rather than at the top of her own 18. Megan
Oyster, I think, is someone that might get a call in next year for the national team. Those are the little things she needs to clean up before she can be at that level. Throw again for Sky Blue FC on the near side. If you're just joining us, Raquel Rodriguez has her first professional goal coming in the 8th minute, assisted by Leah Galton. Sky Blue FC with the lead here on the road against the Washington Spirit. Early cross from Skrosky. LeBay will call off Oyster and make the catch. LeBay among this contingent of Spirit players that will be heading to Rio. Of course, the Canadians have officially announced their 18. The U.S. has announced their 25 for camp against South Africa. Jill Ellis hasn't made her cuts yet, but it will be Zadorsky, Matheson, and LeBay for sure in Rio, and you have to figure Dunn and Krieger will join them. Allie Krieger on the ball now, playing it through, looking for Ordega, who has a step on Rampone. Now tackled, by Simon, and a free kick in a dangerous spot for the Spirit here in the 14th minute.
It looked as if Simon was just trying to kind of hop over the feet of Ordega and just kind of nicked her from behind there. It's definitely not yellow card worthy, but that's a tough position. This is going to be a tough free kick to defend here for Sky Blue.
Spirit with not a ton of size in this front line. That's the turnaround.
Right.
Dunn's 5'1", Ortega's 5'3", Bonini's 5'4". So the tall trees for Sky Blue FC center backs have the advantage in height, but we'll see if they can get a well-placed ball that can be headed home.
And here you see Zadorsky at the top of the 18. Nobody's marking her. Oh, guess got to wait for the whistle to blow.
Spirit have a couple players in the wall, Matheson and Dunn. Nairn will strike this one left-footed. On the way, played through and cleared left-footed by Rampone, who comes up limping after that clearance. Plus, just hit her in the wrong spot on the ankle.
Yep. Sometimes if your ankle's not locked, it can kind of zing you a bit.
Early ball for Galton as LeBay is off her line, and Zadorsky doing the vital task of clearing that out for a throw-in.
Yeah, and that was a great recovery by Zadorsky in that moment.
Great match from Galton. I think putting her on the left side as well takes away from Krieger pushing forward. Although she's done so to a decent effect, it keeps her honest.
Yes.
Skrosky, bumped by Dunn, will get possession back. The rookie out of Rutgers. Tried to play it off of Crystal Dunn and failed. It'll be a goal kick. First 15 minutes going according to plan for Sky Blue FC, Danielle.
Oh yeah, certainly. I think both teams are trying to get into their rhythm still. I don't think we've seen a phenomenal amount of play from them, but I do think Sky Blue has the upper hand especially with the defensive pressure. They really haven't allowed Spirit to play much out of their own back or their midfield. So, I think the Spirit just still have to kind of fall into their game.
Ball played right for O'Hara. Out for a throw in, and we talked about the Spirit's absences to come for Rio. Kelly O'Hara certainly will be missed by Christy Hawley and Sky Blue FC, and they'll lose Sam Kerr, who's just now working her way back to help. But otherwise, this team's going to be pretty intact and I think dangerous in this stretch in July while the national team players are gone.
Right.
O'Hara.
And especially, they really haven't had Kerr that much.
Right, just 15 minutes.
Right, exactly. So they really haven't depended on her a lot this season to get the results that they have.
Similar to the situation that the Spirit were in with Matheson last year, where they knew she was coming back, but they didn't think they were going to get her meaningfully before the World Cup, and they didn't. But she came back and made a great impact in the playoff push. Here's Alyssa Kleiner. Turning it for Dunn. Stolen away by Skrosky. Played up the line and out of bounds. It'll be a throw in for the Spirit. Alyssa Kleiner got a nice little present last night. She was officially given an assist on Estefania Bonini's goal to open scoring last week. Her second career assist. Nairn into space looking for Ortega, and Grubka had her bodied up well, and that goes harmlessly out for a goal kick.
Just not on the same page there, the two of them. But going back to what you just said about Kleiner, if you go back and watch that goal, it makes sense for her to have that assist. So I'm surprised that she wasn't awarded the assist, during the game.
Could even make a decent case for an assist for Crystal Dunn, who kind of just let that one go through. Might have touched it a little bit and allowed Bonini to take that vital touch, get the defender out of the way, and then tuck it past Ashlyn Harris in the corner. Ashlyn Harris, though, did win Save of the Week this week for a nice stop in the second half to keep that game at 2-0. But her offense unable to give her any support, and it ended there at 2-0. Bonini with space, looking for her second career goal. Rodriguez with a good tackle to slow things down, but Matheson will recover for Krieger. Huster now. Left. Dunn dummies it for Kleiner. Beautiful ball from Kleiner just past Bonini. Headed out by Simon at the far post. What a ball.
Yeah, what a great ball. And that's what I was just going to say. That's where it hurts to not have any amount of size in the front line, for the Spirit, because it just went right over Bonini's head.
Katie Stingle, I'm sure on the bench, is wishing that she was out there right now.
Yeah, and hopefully, if we do see her later in the game, she has that sort of opportunity with her size.
Curious to see what Jim Gabara does with Crystal Dunn gone, who that third forward becomes. I think there's a lot of flexibility in this group where Ortega can play centrally or out wide. We've seen Bonini certainly play on either side. Stingle certainly is a center forward type. Farquharson, Williams, they've played all over the place. So a lot of flexibility, I think, even without Crystal Dunn in the lineup.
I mean, it's such a diverse amount of players, that can play on the attacking side for the Spirit. So they certainly do have a lot of options when Crystal Dunn is gone with the national team.
Throw for Simon and Sky Blue FC, who lead 1-0 on a goal by Raquel Rodriguez in the 8th minute. A beautiful shot from just outside the box, into the corner. Just the third game this year, the fourth game this year that Stephanie LeBay has been beaten, and 2 of those are by Sky Blue.
And it wasn't a bad shot. It was a great shot. So there's nothing LeBay should be upset about that.
Nicely weighted through ball for Kai, who continues it on looking for O'Hara, but Stephanie LeBay off her line will scoop and roll for Nairn. Dunn bump there, and foul will go against Grubka right at the center stripe.
I actually don't think that was a dangerous tackle there. And Crystal Dunn, like we always say about her center of gravity is so low to the ground. She just goes down, pops right back up. Not ever an issue for her.
Sky Blue FC has tied their last 3 matches. That coincides with Kristen Grubka's return to the lineup. Nice physical center back in her second year, and someone that was watching it at the beginning of the year, but that's not always a bad thing in your second year. Maybe you pick up a little bit by watching off the bench. And when you're watching Christy Rampone, you're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's so much you can learn, by seeing it from a different point of view than rather when you're on the field. Seeing it more from like a coach's point of view from the sideline. And at this level, that you can continue to learn whether you're playing or whether you're on the sideline. There's always opportunities to continue to grow.
This is the first time, by the way, that Sky Blue FC has scored the first goal for themselves since May the 7th. Get to that thought after this play. As it's Lytle on the ball looking for help, laying it off for O'Hara. O'Hara at the top of the 18, left-footed shot blocked by Oyster and cleared by the second-year defender, Megan Oyster. Dunn trying to start the counter. Has Matheson square. Plays it through instead for Bonini. Bonini with a good first touch towards the 18. Matheson making the run. Bonini tries the shot. Tried to scoop it into the top corner and didn't miss by too much.
Sure, as soon as she took that first touch, I'm like, what is she going to do? Is she going to go for the shot, or is she going to look for Diana Matheson, who makes great runs out of the attacking midfield anyways? She certainly went for the shot, slightly high of the bar, but not a bad opportunity for the Spirit.
And I think you're thinking mirrors what I was thinking, which is Estefania Bonini does a really nice job of deceptiveness.
Sure.
You don't know whether she is going to shoot or pass there. And just kind of hooked that one where she could have easily just taken the touch and hit it with the inside of her foot and passed it as well. Benini on the ball again. Dropping it for Krieger.
And that's something the Spirit have to, focus on. Yes, they're down, but they have to be patient around the 18. Maybe finding Diana Matheson at the top of the 18 could have been a better option. I don't hate the shot that Benini just took, but, just maybe slow it down a little bit, see if there's a better option than the shot she took.
Sky Blue FC building after the giveaway by Narin, but Zadorsky wins it back for Dunn. Ordega, first time ball wide left. Here's Crystal Dunn. Dispossessed smartly by Rodriguez, who finds O'Hara, who plays it forward for Lytle. Tasha Kai's touch is heavy. That lets Crystal Dunn back in the play. And into the sunlight it comes for Megan Oyster. Majestic switch left, looking for Crystal Dunn, and too far even for the speedy Dunn. It'll be a throw in deep.
I was just going to say, she's fast, but she's not that fast.
Chance to pin in Skrosky and Sky Blue FC deep, though, in the 26th minute. Kleiner for Narin. Done. And there's Tasha Kai doing some good work again, coming back to knock that one free and win possession. Lido avoiding Matheson and now finding Rampone. The captain goes left. Here's Aaron Simon. The rookie out of Syracuse will space against Benini, dropping it back. I was thinking on the way over, Danielle, it's kind of funny. You have 3 former Sky Blue FC coaches on the field here right now. Gabara, the current coach Holly, and Christy Rampone led them to a title in 2009 as an interim coach in WPS.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Galton, right for O'Hara. Ball through for Galton. Easy pickings for Stephanie LeBay as Galton switch sides there. I think she might be the most dangerous player in blue so far. She's done a really nice job of getting forward in different positions and causing trouble.
Oh yeah, she's been all over the attacking end for Sky Blue when they've been able to get onto that end. She certainly made some runs trying to get in behind. Obviously a little miscue there between O'Hara and her, but she's definitely done some good things so far this game.
Assisted on Rodriguez's goal in the 8th minute. That's the difference right now. Spirit trying to get level. Krieger on her horse will beat Lytle to the ball. First time ball for Estefania Benini. Broken up though by Simon. Rodriguez gives it away to Narin. Krieger into space for Ordega. Bodying up against Rampone. Held off by Rampone. Still a fight in the box, and the whistle goes against Francisco Ordega. A free kick for Sky Blue FC.
And what a great way for Rampone just to use her body, shield the ball, keep her body between Ordega and the ball. She did a great job there at drawing that foul and keeping Ordega off of the ball.
Mentioned that Rampone turned 41 yesterday. As far as I can tell, she's the oldest player to play in a women's professional league. Christine Lilly hung it up at 39.
Okay.
That's the next highest I can think of.
Two
that
greats.
played for a while. Right. Early ball for O'Hara, and the flag is up for the second time tonight on Kelly O'Hara. Free kick for the Spirit. Speaking of Lily, who's gotten back into the coaching ranks and birthdays. Jillian Lloyd's birthday today.
Yeah, happy
Sky Blue
birthday,
FC
Jillian.
assistant coach today. One of the best goalkeepers this country's produced in the last decade.
And that's exactly what you like to see, goalkeepers at that level retiring and then getting into the coaching side of things and being able to give back what they've been able to do over the course of their career as a professional player.
And our halftime guest tonight, Bryce Curry.
Yeah,
knows
there
a thing
we go.
or two about
Here's
that.
Another one.
Be excited to talk with Bry on this Olympic send-off day about her experiences in Atlanta, and I'm curious to hear the difference between winning a gold, winning a World Cup. Of course, the World Cup that she won was pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
Hard to compare that 99 final to just about anything, but the 96 tournament was a great one in Atlanta as well for the Olympics.
Sure.
First ever gold medal in women's soccer. Well, Bay does very well with her feet to clean that one.
I honestly can't. I was in 6th grade. I honestly can't even remember, way back when. But, I mean, I'm really excited for this summer's Olympics just to see what with all the fresh blood that the women's national team has, what they're able to produce down there.
As we said earlier, some roster decisions still to make. We'll go back to that after this play as I think the big question is at center back. You take Emily Sonnet, the rookie, who's played very well for Portland, and I think is the early Rookie of the Year favorite. Or do you take Whitney Egan, who's a little bit more experienced, but has struggled a bit at club level with a Boston team that's trying to rebuild and lost 7-1 last night. And then I think the other question is, are Megan Rapinoe and Carly Lloyd ready for day one? I think Lloyd will definitely be on the roster.
Okay.
I think Rapinoe will be, but it's a question like Matheson last year at the World Cup. When will she be able to step in and make an impact?
Hopefully sooner rather than later, but you never want to rush. What a touch.
Crystal Dunn doing Crystal Dunn things, working up the left side, in the middle for Matheson. Right for Bonini at the top of the 18. Simon gets a piece, and Rampone gets the rest of it and plays it up the side for Galton, who will just knock it clear.
That was a very good recovery by the Sky Blue back line, but something I want to see out of Bonini is a little bit more confidence with her left foot. Rather than trying to take it to her right, she would have taken it wide of goal. Why not cut back to your left and see if you can get some sort of shot on frame from more of like the central part of the field?
Rodriguez, now she's worked left and Dunn is in the middle. Huster for Matheson. Right for Krieger. And again for Matheson. Bonini, right for Krieger. It's almost been an outside midfielder the way this game's played out on the attacking end. Inside now for Dunn, who turns. Dodges Rampone, but Simon there to pick up the trash and knock it to midfield. Rebuild through Zadorsky for Washington. Kleiner now pressured by O'Hara. Back in the middle for Zadorsky, and she'll regroup for Oyster. No comfortable touches for the Spirit, really. Even Zadorsky now on that second touch, picked up by Lytle, forced left for Kleiner. Ortega inside, nice give and go with Matheson just off the mark, though. And out for a throw.
And to break the pressure of Sky Blue, because they're doing a great job at immediately getting pressure on the ball as the Spirit is trying to move it, they got to start continuing to play 1 and 2 touch. They can't continue to take 3 and 4 touches to draw Sky Blue in. They just got to move it a little bit quicker.
Just really good defensive shape right now from Sky Blue FC. Forcing everything back and sideways.
They're very organized tactically.
And they're doing it, as we said in the open, Danielle, with a different lineup. O'Hara up front for the first time this year. Simon at left back, where she hasn't played too much this year. Steal now from Galton. Oyster gives it right to O'Hara. Kai off her right shoulder. Comes left. Galton. Dummied nicely through by Kai. Killian. Chip left. And behind for a throw-in.
And I certainly do appreciate what Sky Blue is trying to do. They're trying to actually build some things, in and around the 18. They're not just, gunning it forward and trying to get whatever they can on frame. They are actually trying to build and be creative around the 18.
Galton trying to get a step on Krieger. Gets the cross off towards the far post where O'Hara is waiting for it. It'll stay in play. Right foot a ball across again. Diving header. What a shot and what a save. Kai to LeBay.
That's certainly going to be on the highlight reel later. That like I said, the Sky Blue is continuing to try to build. They switched the point there and then they served it in. Kai got a head on it just directly to LeBay.
The flying Hawaiian going for her second goal of the year and forcing a great save out of Stephanie LeBay. The crossing from Sky Blue FC we've been talking about has been fantastic.
Yeah, it has been. And their ball movement has been very good as well. I do think, at this point I would say kind of maybe Sky Blue's a little bit more on the pedal at this point. Spirit's sitting back, but Spirit's certainly not out of this.
That switch from Dunn and Ortega has been kind of permanent over the last few minutes. What do you think that they're looking for from that move?
Well, we've seen Crystal Dunn be able to hold the ball really, really well up there. So maybe trying to find her feet and then having Bonini and Ortega run off of her a little bit.
Skrosky stumbles to foil a pretty promising attack off a nice early serve out of the back. Here's the chance again. A really good ball from Kelly O'Hara across and flying through past Megan Oyster's Natasha Kai, but perfectly positioned with Stephanie LeBay as that header went right up the middle.
And I would probably say that's probably Kai's best touch of the evening
Yes.
so far.
Does the dirty work with a lot of running and movement to pressure the Spirit defense, and nearly got the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Natasha Kai hadn't played professionally in 5 years. The Spirit actually took her in the draft when the league formed in 2013. She chose not to sign at that point, and it was February. Sky Blue FC teased, we've got a big signing. Everybody's like, well, who in the world could it be? And it was Natasha Kai,
Yeah.
which I don't think anybody saw coming.
No.
Back to her former club we mentioned earlier. Scored a very key goal here in the 2009 playoffs to get Sky Blue FC out of the first round as the fight goes up on Lytle.
And have you ever seen anybody take that amount of time off and then be able to come in and put in the minutes that she has so far for this team?
No, not when a league's active. Between leagues, you've seen it a couple of times. But not when there's been a league active where somebody sits out the first 3 years and shows up in year 4, scores on her debut, and still can do things like that after what rust?
Yes,
No
exactly.
rest at all.
Shook it off real quick.
Zadorsky serving it towards Bonini. That was always going to be Simon's ball out of the air. Killian for Rodriguez, who has the goal in the 8th minute. Lytle inside for Kai. Gives it back to Taylor Lytle. Outside of the football, left to work in the run of Galton. Galton into the 18. Cross blocked by LeBay. Second chance cleaned up by Oyster as Kai was charging and brought down now by Ordega.
We've really been able to see Galton use her speed this evening. She's really gotten up and down that flank, and that really, like we said earlier, has been all over the field. That was a great service by her.
We talked about the adjustment there is sometimes for rookies. Rodriguez certainly with a big goal today, but it seems like if you've got that English background like Galton has, like Rachel Daly has for Houston, hasn't been quite so big of an adjustment.
Right.
Grubka with the tackle. Drop back now for Skrosky. Now Killian. O'Hara. Lytle. Rodriguez. Drop back for Christy Rampone as Cloud9, the Sky Blue FC supporters group, the fans that have traveled, making noise with their team up a goal. Kai. Right into the gloves of Stephanie LeBay. Not quite the power she got that on that header.
Right, yeah. I was just watching Sky Blue continue to build up, and they're really able to find a lot of the seams against the Spirit defense and the Spirit midfield. They're moving the ball really, really well this evening.
That holding midfield spot is an unglamorous position a lot of the time. I think Sarah Killian's done a really good job as that fulcrum to link the back line and make those passes you talked about. Tori Huster's done that same kind of job for the Spirit this year, but has been limited with her touches so far tonight.
Yes.
Naren for Kleiner. Done. The chip for Bonini. Headed down by Simon. Spirit still fighting for it. Second chance for Dunn. Dunn's right-footed shot blocked by the sliding body of Kristen Grubka, and out it trickles for a throw-in.
I was about to, as this was happening, I was like, how is this going to pan out? And then obviously it falls to the feet of Crystal Dunn at the top of the 18. Grubka did that was a great defensive play on her part.
Matheson. Bonini. Krieger. Pressure from behind by Kai and forced all the way back to Oyster. Zadorsky for Kleiner. Naren. Huster. Dunn. Triple teamed and forced back to Matheson.
Every time Crystal Dunn has the ball, there's 2 to 3 players around her.
Krieger's cross towards Ordega, headed out by the flying Grubka. Second chance for Bonini at the edge of the 18. Tackle from Simon, and Sky Blue FC will finally clear their lines. Galton on the counter. Trying to switch it for Kai. Chested down by Kleiner under pressure. And again, better safe than sorry. Give away a throw, and Megan Oyster shrugging, saying that could have been a pass rather than a clearance, but I don't mind knocking that one out for a throw with 2 players bearing down on you.
Yeah, you want to be as safe as you possibly can be, in your own defensive end. Yes, you give up a throw-in, but you'd rather give up a throw-in than a lost ball in the center of the field.
Up comes Aaron Simon for this throw in the 37th minute. The goal from Raquel Rodriguez in the 8th minute, standing up so far for Sky Blue FC, who lead 1-0 on the road. Trying to end a 3-game losing streak in this series against the Spirit. Lytle. Galton in the corner, trying to shake Matheson. And Matheson does well to win a throw-in.
Well, going back to what you just said, a 3-game losing streak against the Spirit, they're also unbeaten in their last 3 games, but their last 3 games have been ties.
Right.
So, this is certainly, they've gotten the points, obviously, out of those ties, and if they can continue to play the way they've been playing, I wouldn't be surprised if they do get the 3 points out of this evening.
It's the glass half full, glass half empty thing. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're undefeated in their last 2. They're also winless in their last 4,
right.
Depending on how you want to look at it.
Right, exactly.
But I think, talking to Christy Hawley before the game, he was talking about just having some cohesion and some unity and then building on it and turning those ties into wins. Ortega is offside.
Yeah. I was waiting for the flag to go up. I was like, there's no way she's onside here. And this is where the patience of the Spirit, obviously they have the speed in Dunn, Ortega, and Bonini, but they have to continue just to be patient to see if they can get better opportunities.
Oyster. For Ortega. Turned inside, but nobody there in blue and red. It's won by Rampone, and now Simon will drop it back. Haven't said Caroline Stanley's name too much as she knocks it forward. Out for a throw-in. Stanley, I think, is in a good situation, obviously, starting consistently. She was trapped in Seattle. When you have Hope Solo and Haley Kottmeyer in front of you, you're not going to play too much.
Yeah.
Just one start last year. But now she's finding herself in a situation where she's got Caroline Casey, the rookie out of William & Mary, backing her up.
Who actually played for the Washington Spirit Reserves last summer.
Was the goalkeeper for the championship reserves last year.
Yep.
And then there was an odd situation where they brought in the New Zealand international Erin Naylor, never played her, and then released her a few weeks later. They had cut Casey at that point, then they re-signed her. Steal by Dunn. In the center, just too far for Ortega. Regrouping now with the Spirit. Dunn. Sliding it through for Bonini. Bonini cutting back on her right foot. Trying to mimic her goal from last week, but this time blasted over. And again, Danielle, not very confident in that left foot.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like to see her let that come across her body, take that first touch beyond the defender to the end line and see if she can either maybe get a shot or some sort of service from that angle. She continues. She's going to continue. She's pretty predictable with always cutting back to her right foot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the book on her is being written. Don't fall for that ball up the left side.
Yeah.
Watch the cut back.
Right. Or always just force her to her left. Force her to her left. She's technical enough. I have confidence in her as a player after watching her for the last few years. She certainly has the ability to do it.
Been a good week for Argentinian number 10s in the U.S. Of course, Leo Messi scoring a spectacular free kick against the U.S.
Unreal.
After a foul that was called on, according to the Fox graphic, Ashlyn Harris. She got a yellow card, which is pretty good. Great tweet from Katie Stengel after that happened, the Spirit forward, saying, congratulations for Ashlyn Harris for being a trailblazer, the first women's player to get a yellow card in a men's game.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Left for Bonini.
I think she was actually trending at that point, Ashlyn Harris was. Kudos to her for doing that.
Sometimes graphics mistakes can turn into a good thing.
Yeah.
Throw in for the Spirit. Nairn flubbed that one a little bit, but Ortega able to get to it. Fight for it, and Rodriguez will hold off. O'Hara will just dump it in. Let Zadorsky get it. Shape will unfurl again defensively for Sky Blue FC. I think Dunn just lost her footing there. It wasn't really a push.
It looked as if her heels kind of went into the ground. She just slipped a little bit.
Leszek Stalmach following the whistle there. Our center official, Sean Regan and Maggie Short are the ARs, and Corson Fiddler the fourth official. Early ball intended for Dunn, headed by Grubka. Ortega will try again. Posting up is Dunn, who turns on a dime. Looking for help. Dodges one tackle. And the foul will go against Sarah Killian. That was 1-on-6, but still Crystal Dunn was dangerous enough to draw a foul.
We've seen that before. We've certainly seen that before. I was just thinking that this has been a pretty clean game so far. There hasn't really been many fouls called maybe the most dangerous have been for the Spirit. One on the side of the box on the far side of the field, and then this one right here.
This is the third game that Stolmack's officiated this year. No cards, 18 fouls combined.
Okay. He lets him play.
Narron territory here, left of center, about 30 yards from goal, give or take. 4-player wall for Sky Blue FC. Being guided at the near post by the pink-clad Caroline Stanley. She's happy with it. She'll break off and protect that far post. Left foot from Narron, driven into the wall. Second chance. Chipped up looking for Matheson. Volley attempt there from Tori Huster, and that would have been a fine goal, but not nearly enough on that one to beat Caroline Stanley.
Yeah, I don't think that was. I'm assuming Tori Huster wasn't looking to shoot there. I think she was maybe just looking to see if she can put it back in the mix to see if anybody would have run onto it. But I don't think her teammates thought she could get that sort of volley in.
Oyster rising high. Now Huster will help it on. Rampone for Rodriguez. Skrosky. Back for Rodriguez again. Lido right side. First time ball from Killian looking for Kai. Deflected out wide right where Kelly O'Hara is waiting for it. O'Hara in the box. Sliding it through. Beautiful ball for Kai, and she mishits it wide.
Yeah, I mean, the way that ball came in, it was actually a great ball by Kelly O'Hara with the pressure of Kleiner on her. But the way that ball was coming, she just continued to push it wide of the goal with her movement. Maybe if she would have let it come across to her left and maybe put it back near post, I think it would have been a better opportunity for her. Not that it was a bad opportunity, but I think it would have been a better option.
Here it is again. O'Hara's done a really nice job getting loose on the right side, and just maybe a little bit of rust there from Natasha Kai.
Well, and the way it went to the far post. If she maybe, even with her right foot, if she would have maybe put it near post, it would have been a better option.
Ortega running away from goal, forced by Rampone wide, and off it'll go with Francisco Ortega.
For a throw-in.
Throw-in very deep. Throwing from Bethesda here. that's how deep it is on that side. Easy win, though, from Allie Krieger. Matheson. Shielded by Kai out for a throw-in. Always interesting to see how the chess game goes with the formations. I think the wide play for Sky Blue FC has really exploited that 3-player midfield for the Spirit.
Yep.
Galton and O'Hara have done a great job getting into space on those touch lines.
Yeah, and that's where you're going to want, regardless of who's on the outside, whether it's Dunn or Ortega, Bonini, whoever it is, they have to help and recover and make sure they're filling in that space, because that's a lot of ground to ask Matheson, Narron, and Huster to cover.
Dunn and was waiting for Ortega to make the move, and it never came. The ball was taken away and played now long for Lytle. Oyster back for LeBay. Natasha Kai again doing the hard work to win a header back for her team. Find Christy Rampone. Grubka for O'Hara. Bit of a cushion. She'll lay it into space right for Lytle, but the battle of the sixes goes to Shalina Zadorsky in the Spirit. Now Zadorsky will clear it up the sideline and out for a throw-in. O'Hara trying to turn Huster. Matheson for Narron. Up the line, good body control there from Dunn to open up a window on the left side. Overlapping is Bonini. Ortega is central. Dunn going to work herself. Dunn in the box. Dunn with her left foot. Shot blocked by Rampone. She's seen that trick a time or two.
Yeah, exactly. And what I really like about how Sky Blue defenders are putting their bodies on the line, doing anything they can to put themselves behind that ball and create some sort of deflection.
That the final touch of the half, and Daniel Malaguerra, we talked before the game about how we thought Kelly O'Hara was going to be put on that right side to give Alyssa Kleiner fits, and she has.
No, absolutely. And she really has been able to find the flank and then looked for some services. I think the flanks in general for Sky Blue have been huge in this game so far, and the outside midfielders have done a great job. I think I would say Sky Blue probably has the upper hand right now going into halftime, obviously with the 1-0 lead, but it's certainly not over. There's another 45 minutes for the Spirit to get back into it.
What have you seen positively from the Spirit?
I think they settled down a little bit. When they were able to play 1 and 2 touch and knock the ball, they were able to kind of, find some seams for Sky Blue. But Sky Blue's defensive pressure has been great. So the Spirit really have to continue to move the ball, be patient around the box, around the 18, and see if they can really get some good shots off. Because right now, one shot on goal, it's just probably not what they're used to. So they just need a little bit more patience in and around the 18.
Maybe, I wouldn't say the worst half we've seen the Spirit play this year at home, but the least effective, I think, half we've seen them play at home this year.
Right, exactly. I mean, they're still continuing to build as a team. Obviously, they came out blazing, in the first half of this season and got some great results, but they're still continuing to find out, especially with Bonini and Ortega. It's the only second time they're starting together with Dunn up top. So there's certainly still room for improvement with the Spirit, and I think maybe we see a change going into the second half. Who are they going to put in up top, to make a difference?
Interesting to see who maybe warms up, comes out of the locker room a little bit early.
Yep.
You mentioned the final game before the Olympics send-off for the Spirit's international players, and 3 Canadians this week: Shalina Zadorsky, Diana Matheson, Stephanie LeBay named to the Olympic team, and our fine digital team here with the Spirit had a chance to talk to those 3 players, get their thoughts on the Olympics and much more. We'll be back with Bryce Curry after we see that piece on the Canadians.
What?
Welcome back to the Maryland Soccer Bus. Michael Minnick alongside Daniel Malgary and Bryce Scurry. Welcome.
Thank you. How you doing?
Olympic send-off today, so I thought we'd get your thoughts on your past Olympic experiences. I was thinking about this. When did you find out that the Olympics were going to be a thing for women's soccer? Because 96 was the first one.
Yes,
was it like 94, 95?
I'd say probably about 95-ish is when I found out, and it was a unique story because usually in Olympics the event is exhibition the first time through.
Mm-hmm.
But our first time we were full medal, so it was fantastic. Great timing for me and all the women that played on that team.
And I think that obviously the 91 tournament, you win it. It's wonderful. 95, I think there was a little bit more of a momentum for the sport. It was on ESPN2. I think 96 was kind of the start of this modern era of women's soccer where it was on national television. It was on NBC. And I think the team got some national prominence from that.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did. We got coverage, like you said, but
Right.
also in that Olympic Games, a lot of women's teams won gold, and so that also helped with the visibility in terms of whoever won gold that particular Olympic Games. And also we filled the stadiums. We had 76,000 people at our final, and we could truly say that women's soccer was relevant because the fans were there to see our game, not just the men's game, but to see the women's game as well.
And playing all over the East Coast, I'm sure that was kind of a springboard as well to what happened in '99, where you were packing stadiums again. People kind of got a taste of it, and then got the whole thing, the whole World Cup, 3 years later.
Absolutely. I couldn't say more about the timing.
Yep.
So having a United States Olympics in '96 and then having United States World Cup hosting in '99 definitely helped. I mean, we were able to carry that momentum throughout the country, and it wasn't a very long time before we were able to go again and draw upon that momentum that we got in '96 to take through to '99, definitely.
Where do you keep your medal?
Actually, I'm very hands-on with my medals. I keep them with me. I have both in one box, and I bring them to appearances that I do around the country and let people wear them and take pictures with them. And so I'm more of a hands-on kind of person because I like to inspire people with my medals to be able to feel them and touch them and wear them.
I actually got to wear Becky Sauerbrunns after the London games,
Nice.
so I was very special. I felt very special. So are you making a trip down to Rio this summer to go to any of the games, or what are you doing?
I have plans to go to a game or two,
Good.
especially. Things are in the works, and we'll see. But that's the plan, is to go down there and to root for the team and
Okay.
hopefully be attendance.
Do you know which ones you're going to yet, or do you know, is the schedule even out yet?
Yeah, it's out.
Is it out?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm a little
schedule-
bit behind.
Yeah, the big ones at the end are usually better.
Right, okay. Okay, all right, I get that. Good.
Are you in or out or going to a game in Manaus? Do you want to go to the Amazon and see some soccer or not?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'll go wherever they want me to, but it's always been an honor to be affiliated with the Olympics and obviously to be affiliated with the team and to be part of the sisterhood that's been able to represent the United States at the Olympic Games. It's always been a great honor, and I'm very happy and excited to see how the team does this year.
Obviously, that '99 final was a once-in-a-lifetime game, but how does winning a World Cup compare to winning a gold medal?
It's actually very interesting. It's different in a way because I think for women in this country, all of us as young girls all dreamt about being an Olympic athlete. And so for as far as World Cups, maybe that wasn't quite as predominant of a dream to have. And so I think the Olympics is always something that everybody can say, yeah, I saw, Mary Lou Retton, or I saw
Right.
great Olympic athletes in the past from the USA do amazing things, and now I can do them too. So I think it has its own relevance in that way.
Talking with Lori Lindsay last week, she was talking about the unique experience of being in the Olympic Village and getting to meet some of the athletes. Do you have a story or maybe stories that you remember from maybe meeting somebody that you'd never met before that was a medalist or somebody that went on to be doing something great?
At 2000 Olympics in Sydney, I was able to meet Serena Williams and Venus Williams.
Wow.
And we were actually getting ready to go do the opening ceremonies, and we were in this area of the holding area, and we were there like 3 or 4 hours before the ceremony. And I remember walking into this facility and seeing them there and just talking to them. That was amazing. But the thing that I remember most about my first games in '96 was processing, which is when all the athletes go and the dream that they had all along becomes a reality, because that's when you actually get all your swag and all your gear and you get fitted for everything, and it's really it becomes a real thing as opposed to a dream at that point. So processing was one of my favorite things to do.
Now, when you make the trip down this summer, do you have a plan to go see any other events, maybe tennis or anything else, some swimming? Is there anybody you know that you would like to go see down there?
I would love to go see some other events, but as you know, soccer tends to not be anywhere near
That's true. That's very true.
everyone else.
Okay.
Usually they're in the Olympic Village area, in the city
Okay.
area, in the semifinals and finals. So hopefully we'll be able to see some other
Good,
events.
good.
Off the field, what are you into now? I know we talked to you the first week of the season. Busy schedule being retired, right?
Yeah,
From
it
playing.
is. It has been. It's been wonderful. I've been doing a lot of speaking engagements at different corporations around the country, different colleges, but also I'm a huge advocate for TBI, traumatic brain injury. As you know, my career
Yep.
ended from a concussion, so right now I'm doing a lot of different things, some stuff with the military. I'm working with different companies to try to bring TBI products and data to the people and help people with TBI to get better.
Something we've talked about before we let you go. How does Rempone keep doing it?
I don't know.
That's been a highlight today.
I
for
tell you
us.
what, seeing her out there,
Yeah.
she looks like she's 21
Right.
instead of 40. She looks fantastic as always. And Christy's always been the ideal professional. I mean, not only has she taken care of her body on and off the field, she's had kids and she's always taken care of herself. She's always been at the top of fitness and a fantastic leader and just a wonderful person in general. And I'm glad and happy for her that she's still able to play at this age. It's amazing.
Brian, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank
Sky
you,
Blue
guys.
FC leads 1-0 at the half. We'll be back with the second half right after this. Welcome back to the Maryland Soccerplex. Michael Mack alongside Danielle Malagari and Raquel Rodriguez's goal in the 8th minute. Danielle standing up so far as Sky Blue FC's game plan has been excellent.
Oh, yeah, and we talked about it the whole entire half. Their defensive pressure has been smart. When they weren't able to get the pressure on the ball immediately, they dropped back, got numbers behind the ball, forced the Spirit to be good on the ball, and forced them actually to make some mistakes. So their game plan, whatever they talked about prior to the game, they're certainly executing, and they're playing very well.
Team's coming out of the locker room right now, and as we talked about before the break, Danielle, I was curious to see if there'd be a sub. Didn't see anybody warming up, so I think it's going to be the same 11 at least to start for the Spirit in the second half.
Sure. I think down at the far corner, I think Stengel might have been doing a little bit of footwork, but we'll just have to see once the team comes out, who's going to be in this lineup, if Stengel comes in or if she doesn't.
Sky Blue FC, the second ones to come out of their locker room, and I think the message from Christy Hawley has to be more of the same. Don't let Crystal Dunn get space, but otherwise more of the same.
Yeah, exactly. And like we talked about earlier as well, is the pressure that Sky Blue's putting on the back line of the Spirit. The Spirit really haven't been able to play out of the back, so you don't really want to see Sky Blue sit in just because they're up 1-0. I'm sure they're going to continue to keep their foot on the pedal and go forward.
Sky Blue FC on the air 2-1 when they lead at the half. The one was their home loss over Western New York, 2-1. Maya Hayes scored 35th minute, and then a PK from Jolene Hinkle tied it in the 72nd. Sam Ewis got the win in the 85th, so they know sometimes it goes wrong. For the Spirit, they trail at the half for just the second time this year. The first one was their only loss of the season, the game at Portland.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, there's still 45 minutes to go. We do see Stengel coming in here. Ortega. We don't see Ortega out on the field.
Yep.
But there's certainly, plenty of time for the Spirit to get back into it. They just got to settle into their game plan in the second half.
What are the Spirit looking for with this move, bringing Stengel in?
She's going to be a bigger body up top, so balls that are being played into the front line, maybe she can hold them a little bit more and see if they can get Bonini and Dunn running off of her a little bit. See if she can be a strong body to kind of hold off the back line. And she, she has a little bit more size than what Ortega did, so maybe they can find her on the end of a cross at some point inside the 18.
More of a traditional center forward with 2 wingers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Spirit will kick off going from left to right here in the second half as Christine Nairn will immediately serve it out. Look for Crystal Dunn, but it goes out of bounds. Throw up the line, knocked on by Tasha Kai. Kept alive by Krieger for the Spirit. Now Matheson fighting for it, and it ends up with Kai again. Finally, the game of head tennis ends with Raquel Rodriguez getting a touch. The goal scorer in the first half will spray it out into space. Kai is onside, forcing LeBay off her line, and LeBay gets to it just in time and knocks it out for a throw-in.
And those are the type of tackles you never want to see. Obviously, there wasn't a tackle. There was really, no contact at all. But it always makes you nervous to see a goalkeeper try to make a play outside of the 18. But LeBay did a good job at just playing it out.
Throw from Aaron Simon, headed by Oyster. We'll reset the lineups here once play slows down a little bit. Matheson on the right side for the Spirit. Stingle in front of her. Dunn to her right. She'll play Crystal Dunn. Marked by Simon. Dunn steps past her. Plays essentially just behind Matheson. Slides to keep it alive for Nairn. Through ball just off the mark, looking for Katie Stingle. And out comes Stanley. So for Sky Blue FC, it's the starting 11 of Stanley, Simon, Grubka, Rempone, and Skrosky. Rodriguez, Killian, Galton, and Lido in the midfield. And Kai and O'Hara up top for the Spirit. LeBay in goal. Kleiner, Zadorsky, Oyster, and Krieger across the back. Matheson, Huster, and Nairn in the midfield. Dunn, now Stingle, and Bonini up top. Slip there from Crystal Dunn. Simon up the line, just past Galton. Oyster for Dunn. Turns it over to Raquel Rodriguez. O'Hara. The chip looking for Lytle, just behind her, as Oyster might have got a piece of that on the way through, and Krieger will knock it out for another throw-in.
It did look as if Oyster did get a slight touch on that with her head.
Off of Dunn. Sky Blue FC will try again. Rampone. Tasha Kai. Can't pick it up on the other side of Oyster. Zadorsky nearly turns it over to O'Hara, but ends up with Huster in the end. Great ball from Kleiner, just off the mark for Nairn. And knocked up by Grubka. Rolls out for a goal kick. So really, Danielle, the first 3 minutes of the second half, a continuation of the first half, Sky Blue FC has been able to get wide, get some good possession, high press that Spirit back line.
Yeah, and they're sticking to their game plan. Every time the ball goes out of bounds and an outside back looks to play the ball backwards to a center back for the Spirit, Kai's all over them. She's not letting them breathe it and produce anything out of the center of the back.
Kai knew she was offside and just let that one go to LeBay. Header won by Grubka over Stingle. So you bring in the increased size of Stingle at 5'9", but Grubka still has an inch on her at 5'10" and wins that header.
And when the Spirit were trying, and I do not dislike, balls in behind, or especially diagonal balls in behind the back line, but when the Spirit were trying to do that earlier in the game, every single ball the back line for the Sky Blue was able to sniff out. They weren't really able to find many balls in behind, longer balls over top.
Matheson for Krieger, bumped by Simon. Allie Krieger stays in the ball, doubles it back for Matheson. Huster, diagonal ball, and Krieger was jogging back knowing she was offside and let it go. Good combination there in the corner, though, from Matheson, Huster, and Krieger, nearly unlocking the defense.
And that's more that's more of what you want to see from the Spirit, seeing how they can combine to get themselves through. If they can get Krieger and if they can get Kleiner in behind to get some services off, which they really haven't been able to do much this evening.
Galton, who assisted on Raquel Rodriguez's goal in the 8th minute. Touching it by Allie Krieger, but there in support is Oyster. It knuckles off of the leg of Galton, and the Spirit will have to defend again as Rodriguez wins it for Lytle. O'Hara runs it down on the right side. Must be that chocolate milk. Now cutting inside for Lytle. Overlapping. O'Hara's own side slides it across, but into the gloves of LeBay. Kai was making the far post run.
I certainly appreciate the chocolate milk comment. That was well done.
I do what I can. O'Hara, though, is shaken up behind the play now, and they'll stop and tend to her right now. And this is the last thing you want to see right before the Olympics. Last match before camp begins.
I think it was just a hard tackle from Kleiner.
They're going to make O'Hara go to the sideline and then be waved back on since play was stopped for her, I believe. No, they're just going to make her back up. Spirit ball. LeBay calls off Kleiner and will handle in her own 18. Short for Oyster. Through looking for Stengel, headed down by Simon. Galton battling Krieger again. Krieger back for Oyster. Nice ball to find Dunn, who turns, but right into Aaron Simon. Rampone double team, slides it to Rodriguez. Continued onto O'Hara, who looks to be okay. O'Hara with a head of steam in the box, trying to get a step on Kleiner, playing it across, brought down by Oyster. LeBay was there too, and now Zadorsky will knock it clear for a throw-in. I believe it was going to be a throw-in. They're going to put it in the corner, though.
I thought it was too.
I thought it was definitely a throw-in. First corner of the match for either team. Actually, Spirit had one. Served in towards the middle and caught by LeBay right behind Erica Skrosky. Quick out to Bonini. Can the Spirit counter? Not the best first touch from the Argentinian, but she works her way back into the play.
And that was a good hard recovery by Grubka to get back, or else Bonini would have been off to the races with all that real estate ahead of her.
Tackle one for Bonini. Keeps it in touch. Dunn making the run off her shoulder, but the pass picked off by Taylor Lytle. Kept alive now on the sideline by Matheson for Bonini. Stengel turning. Laying it off looking for Nairn, but the pass is out the mark, and O'Hara showing why she's a world-class defender as well, in a good position to win it.
It seems as if every final ball or any ball that the Spirit is trying to find the seam through the back line is just getting sniffed out by the Sky Blue back line. They really haven't had many opportunities to play those through balls and find that space in behind the Sky Blue back line.
Stanley for Rampone. Skrosky with the early serve towards Lytle. Oyster in good position. Will head it back towards LeBay. Just enough mustard on that one to get back to the Canadian.
And that's always kind of right in the middle. You don't know really what to do, but Oyster did a good job.
Apologize for the mix-up at the half. I'm sure that interview we did with the Canadians will find its way to the Spirit's YouTube page this week. You can watch the comments of Diana Matheson and Shalina Zadorsky and Stephanie LeBay about going to Rio. Very exciting time for them. Stanley nearly turning it over as Stengel got in the way. That would have been an embarrassing equalizer to give up. I'm
not sure how Stanley didn't see her coming. But that in that moment, that's where Stengel's putting the effort to put that pressure onto Stanley. The rest of the team has to join her, especially if she makes that tackle against the goalkeeper. You know, the midfielders need to join her there and see if they can build something from that moment.
Zadorsky, Spirit down a goal, trying to build here in the 55th minute. Kleiner. Bonini inside for Huster. A sustained spell here for the Spirit as Krieger gets on it. Nairn. scoops it into space. Crystal Dunn will watch it roll as Rampone was in good position.
Right, and that's exactly what I was talking about, a couple minutes ago. All of those balls in behind, the back line for Sky Blue are really able to get onto, especially there with, Christy Rampone just realizing what kind of service that was going to be played in behind from Crystal Dunn. She was just really able to clean it up nicely.
Spirit have 2 changes left. Sky Blue FC has 3. The Spirit have Didasco, Church, Lohman, Farquharson, the backup goalkeeper Weiss, and Williams available. The bench for Sky Blue FC is Shauna Gordon as it comes all the way through to LeBay. Gordon, Stanton, DeCesar, Coco Goodson, Kerr, Conheeney, the backup goalkeeper Casey. As Diedrich, Shulman, and Hayes are scratched tonight. Spirit have Estelle Johnson scratched tonight. Laura Del Rio out for the season with injury. The Spirit have not filled that 20th spot on the roster yet. Stengel into space. Crystal Dunn on the ball. First time ball from Dunn towards Matheson, blocked. Sky Blue FC's done a really good job, Grubka especially, of making those vital sliding tackles.
Yeah, she's thrown her body, at every single service. Maybe not every single service, but a majority of the services to not let anything really get produced inside of the 18 for the Spirit.
Christine Nairn will serve this one left-footed from the right corner. Sets it up now for her right, actually, so it'll be an outswinging ball here from the right side from the former Penn State Nittany Lion. Goes short for Dunn. Back for Nairn on her left foot. Whips it across towards the far post. Rising forward is Oyster, but headed out by Tasha Kai.
I think the Spirit did a good job. They certainly had the numbers inside the box, but there weren't very many runs. They were pretty stagnant on that service. So really nobody was able to maybe really attack that ball.
Huster is onside in the corner. Huster's left-footed ball, and we'll do it again from the opposite corner. Set piece again for the Spirit, and Nairn will come over to take yet again. You feel the momentum moving the Spirit's way a little bit. More possession, a little bit more comfort on the ball, trying to carve out a tying chance here.
Earlier in the season, we saw Zadorsky getting into the box on these sort of services, but now she's kind of hanging back a little bit with Kleiner.
Christine Nairn has it on the tee. Driving it into the box towards the near post, towards Krieger. Headed out and will do it again. Almost a get out of jail free card there. That was not Nairn's best service from the far corner.
And again, Christy Rampone kind of throwing her body at the ball.
It's amazing how many times we've seen Rampone, Kai get the final touch in the box. Veteran players making veteran plays. Nairn served towards the far post this time, towards Stengel, and juggled and caught by Caroline Stanley. Punt from Stanley as Sky Blue FC tries to be just the second team to win at the Soccerplex in the last 2 seasons. Seattle won on the last day of the regular season last year. Here's Crystal Dunn. Up the line for Stengel. Dunn. Pushed off by Simon and cleared. Kai holding up, stumbles. Oyster did it cleanly and finds the feet of Huster. Left now for Kleiner. Nairn. Through ball to Stengel and kind of 2 minds what to do with that ball, but she'll get a second look at it and go right for Dunn. Dunn to the end line. Cross blocked by Simon. Another corner for the Spirit. Sam Kerr getting instructions by the Sky Blue FC bench right now, Danielle.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even think we were expecting her to come in today. So it certainly could be. Oh, and she's sitting back down.
She'll sit back down with her team defending a set piece, though. The last time you want to make a sub, defending a set piece.
And you can kind of feel it shift a little bit here for the Spirit. They're getting a little bit more, in their attacking end, really being able to keep the ball in there, getting Sky Blue on their heels a bit.
Lefty service this time from Nairn. In towards the near post. Huster trying to flick it on and stays in somehow for Nairn, who crosses it back, and will be a goal kick now.
And we also see Joanna Lohman over here warming up on the Spirit sideline.
Be interesting to see if Lohman comes in, who it's for. Do you make a straight swap in the midfield? Do you maybe rearrange and maybe take like a Bonini off and move Matheson up?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. There's no reason for Matheson to be out of this game. She has been quiet, but maybe if you can slide Lohman into the midfield, give Matheson the opportunity to attack from the width a little bit more.
Bonini fouled there. Looked like a pretty clean tackle for me for Kelly O'Hara, but Bonini does draw the whistle. Helped her case that she stumbled a little bit. Probably more of a serve than a shot for Christine Nairn here from this far out. Oyster will jog forward. Everybody for Sky Blue FC within 25 yards of their goal. Spirit will cluster on the right edge of the box, Dunn on the left.
I would expect this just to be a nice little chip with a little backspin on it.
Too much on that one.
Yep.
Oyster had a little bit of space, but the pass was too far for her.
Yep. Maybe if she got a little bit more air under it, a little bit more backspin, kind of drop it right behind the line of players to see if somebody could run onto it. A little bit too hard there.
Rodriguez gives away a throw as the pass was off the mark for O'Hara on the far side. Stengel posting up and dropping it back. Kleiner now for Oyster. Sam Kerr has shed the penny. She'll be the first change for Christy Hawley and Sky Blue FC momentarily. Spirit attacking, trying to tie it before they can make that change. Ball from Dunn behind the run of Stengel. Bonini beats one. Bonini's low shot. Stanley saves it. I believe that was going to go wide all the way, but didn't really have to be saved, but she gave away a corner.
Yeah, it seemed as if, she really wasn't aware of where her post was in that moment, which is fine. Better safe than sorry. It didn't even really look like Bonini got that much pace on the ball, but, enough to kind of to make Stanley worry about it for her to leave her feet and knock that ball out of bounds.
Spirit with their 5th corner of the last 5 or 10 minutes. Haven't gotten really a shot off of that, though. Lefty ball this time. Headed out by Grubka. Miss hit there by Kleiner. Tasha Kai with maybe her last touch of the game, chipping it forward for O'Hara. LeBay is way out for the keeper header. Rampone on the ball now heading it forward. Step and win there from Kleiner. Grubka now. Chips right. And too far for Rampone. It's going to be a straight swap up top for Sky Blue FC. You bring on the speedy Kerr to harass the defense and give Natasha Kai a well-deserved rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Kai had, this is the first time I've seen her play live in a very, very long time. I think she put out a phenomenal performance this evening, especially with her defensive pressure.
So this will be the longest stretch that Samantha Kerr has played since she ruptured a ligament in her foot back in November in the Australian League. She played 15 minutes 2 weeks ago. She'll play about 30, if you count stoppage time, to wrap this one up. And on cue, the Aussie, Aussie, Aussie chant from Cloud 9 opposite from us. Kerr made an impact, taking a shot in that cameo appearance against FC Kansas City, a 1-1 tie back on June 11th. Galton, who has really not had much of the ball in the second half after a great first half, serving a nice one in here. Kerr's first touch of the volley by Stephanie LeBay. Welcome back, Sam Kerr.
Yes, stop. That was a phenomenal goal. The fact that she even knew to leave her feet to get a touch on that ball to get it past LeBay. But Galton, you had just said she's been very quiet, but that was a fantastic ball in behind the back line for the Spirit for Kerr just to get a one-time ball, a one-time touch on frame. That was a very, very, very great goal by Sky Blue FC. Welcome to the game, Sam Kerr.
Galton picks up her 2nd assist of the game. Beauty from Samantha Kerr.
Yeah.
Who scores her 22nd career NWSL goal in just her 50th appearance.
Yeah,
Pretty good strike rate.
Yeah, I mean that needs to be for goal of the week. That needs to be a nominee.
So the Spirit came into this game with a shutout streak of 425 minutes at home. Now they're down 2 at the Plex. Kerr once more, sliding it into space. Somehow that run is onside from O'Hara. Cross towards the far post towards Lido, cleaned up by Oyster. Kerr gets a second look at it. Stumbles there and wins a corner. Does that look like somebody that's played 15 minutes in the last 7 months?
not with that first touch. First touch of the game. Absolutely not. But you expect that out of her. You know the type of player that she is. Regardless of how many minutes she's been able to put in for Sky Blue this summer, she's absolutely going to have an impact when she comes into the game.
Second corner of the match for Sky Blue FC will come from the right side. LeBay pops it up like a volleyball player, a little set to herself and catches it. Outlet now looking for Bonini, but Simon beats her to it.
I actually think Simon, if she would have stepped to that ball, maybe she could have won it rather than a 50-50 ball. She certainly could have won that ball nice and easy.
Joanna Lohman will come on. Christine Narin making way as the Spirit burn their second substitution. The 66th, soon to be the 67th minute. What will Joe bring to this one?
I mean, she has so much energy coming out of the midfield. The runs that she's able to make out of the midfield are great. She really can find space in behind the back line. She's creative. She has a lot of experience in there. I think she'll certainly offer a lot for the Spirit in these last 15 minutes or so. Sorry, 25 minutes or so.
Galton with the first 2-assist game against the Spirit since 2014, and that player was Kelly O'Hara.
Yeah.
Something about Sky Blue FC.
Yeah.
Dunn trying to fight her way through. Stays on the ball as the whistle stays in the pocket of the referee. Dunn playing it left for Stengel. Trying to touch it around Grubka. Overlapping is Kleiner. Left-footed ball in, volleyed by Rampone. And cleaned up by Grubka. Lytle. Good outlet right. Early ball be played by O'Hara over the top. Kerr working one against Zadorsky, but the flag is up on the Australian. Free kick for the Spirit. Just the second time the Spirit have allowed multiple goals this year. The first one, of course, is their only loss, the 4-1 defeat at Portland. And Sky Blue FC has scored a pair for just the third time this year. Bonini. Matheson, chip in looking for Dunn. Off her line of Stanley, she'll make the play.
And if you look at the history of these two teams playing on this field, you have Sky Blue kind of winning the series.
Yep.
Between the two teams, and they're 2-1-2 here at the Soccerplex. So that's good odds for them.
Yeah, before the Spirit won the last 3, it was 5 wins and 2 draws in Sky Blue FC's favor.
Right.
Kerr, beautiful first touch, tries the volley, and this time Oyster there to block. Might be 2 of the better shots we've seen in a game from a substitute.
Yeah.
A spectacular goal from Sam Kerr in the 63rd minute, and another something out of nothing opportunity in the 69th minute. And that's what you want from a sub. the things were starting to slip away a little bit from Sky Blue FC. Kerr comes on, bam, they're back on the burner. It's 2-0.
Yeah, it's a complete game changer, just getting that second goal, really building on that lead for Sky Blue. And that's what, like you said, you want from a sub, a super sub. You want somebody who's going to come in and make an immediate impact, and she did that.
Australia, I think, is one of the dark horses to win the Olympics. If Sam Kerr's playing like this, there's nothing dark about that horse. They're going to be one of the main horses.
Right. I mean, I loved watching them play last summer in the World Cup. It was probably one of the most fun teams to watch. And
again, this is her 4th year in the league. She's 22.
Yeah.
She's 22.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Grubka's early serve. Trying to spring O'Hara, who's had a good match at forward today, but Kleiner will get to this one. Drop it for LeBay, who ships it out for a throw-in. that cohesion the Spirit had for a couple minutes there has evaporated. We're back to where we were in the first half.
Sure, and anytime you're really putting pressure on a team, because they had what? They got four corner kicks within within
span,
5 minutes or so. I mean, that was great work by them, and you really felt kind of the tide shift a little bit. But then Kerr comes on and boom, puts the ball in the back of the net. You're certainly going to find the Spirit on their heels.
Bonini for Matheson. Spirit trying to get back into this one. Bonini. Stengel. Good layoff right for Matheson. Dunn is onside. Shook Rampone for a second to get open. Cross from Dunn comes in low. Stumble in the box from Grubka. Chance for Stengel. Her first touch is heavy. Her second touch goes thudding into the hands of Caroline Stanley.
Yeah, and Caroline Stanley didn't even think about it. She just came out, just covered that ball nice and quick that Stengel wasn't able to get a decent shot off.
Yeah, from that tight of an angle, making yourself big pretty much covers the goal.
Exactly. And she just did a great job at kind of jumping right on top and smothering the ball.
Lytle. O'Hara back for Killian. Pass blocked by Stengel, who I think has done well since coming on. I'm not sure Joanna Wilman's had a touch since coming on for Christine Nairn in the last 5 minutes. Rampone, forward for Galton. Simon with some good work. Cleared by Killian. Headed by Kerr. Krieger on for Dunn. Stays alive, but into the path of Simon. And all the way back to Stanley.
I think, obviously the Spirit are running out of time here. They still have 20 minutes plus stoppage time, whatever they have. We've seen crazier things happen here at the Soccerplex. So, scoring 2 goals in the final 20 minutes is certainly not out of the question, especially for a team that's had so much success this season.
Chance on a corner here, which Matheson will take with Nairn out of the game. We will see Zadorsky come forward for this one, along with Oyster. Kleiner, the only player back. In fact, the only player other than Wabay not within 20 yards of Sky Blue FC's goal. Right-footed serve from Matheson. Towards the middle, caught by Stanley. Hung up a little too long.
Any ball that is served inside of the 6-yard box, the goalkeeper's going to pick up, unless it's obviously beyond their far post. But that was a nice, clean catch for Stanley to come out and not really give Spirit a good opportunity on that corner.
We mentioned Dunn earlier drawing a foul 1-on-5. There was O'Hara 1-on-4 drawing one. Quick restart for Lytle. Kerr. Lytle's left foot across, nobody home at the far post, and Krieger will head out cleanly for Dunn. Right for Stengel, picked off though by Simon, and now she'll charge forward, forcing Dunn to defend. Layoff now for Rodriguez. And Rampone will take her foot off the gas.
And that's exactly what I've been talking about, that service from Crystal Dunn to Stengel. Obviously, Stengel probably should have went to the ball there. But those are the types of balls that the Sky Blue back line has really been good at picking out this evening from the Washington Spirit.
Simon. Rampone. Killian. O'Hara. Out for a Sky Blue FC throw. Raquel Rodriguez from Leah Galton in the 8th minute. Sam Kerr from Leah Galton in the 63rd minute. The 2 goals right now. Sky Blue FC in search of their 3rd win of the season, trying to hand the Washington Spirit their first home loss of the year and just their 2nd in the last 2 years. Spirit have 16 minutes plus stoppage time to flip the script here. Huster for Stengel. Grubka forward. Killian juggling for herself. Gets a pick there from Rodriguez and goes right. Early ball from Erica Skrosky to the feet of Kerr, trying to touch it by Zadorsky, but the Canadian wins it. Huster now for Dunn. Stinko to her right. Dunn charging up the middle, 1-on-4. Dunn, right for Stengel. Still just 3 in the box for the Spirit. A single tries to fight for it. Turns well. Lays it off at the edge of the 18 for Dunn. Fake move there on Rodriguez. Crosses blocked. Stolen now by Krieger. Dodges Simon's tackle. Krieger's cross. Popped up by Rampone and out for a corner. Nikki Stanton has the sub card, and it looks like she'll be the second change for Sky Blue FC here in the final 15 of regulation before stoppage time. Again, the corner will be taken by Matheson. Ball towards the far post, over everybody. Oyster was the target.
I think the Spirit, the way they line up, is kind of hard for them to get anybody really on the ball. They're all lining up really at the top of the 6, and then you see some players spin out, some people run forward. But if it's a service that goes well beyond everybody, nobody's really going to be able to get there. They don't really have anybody like beyond the 6, beyond the 18 to kind of clean it up as like what we used to call the trash run.
Lohman. Bonini. Cross towards Matheson. Matheson's header. Stanley got a piece of it, but not enough. And the Canadian has the Spirit back in this one right before she heads off to Rio.
I don't think I've ever seen Matheson was wide open. That was a great service across the 18 for Matheson to finish. I don't even think I've ever seen her that wide open. I don't even think I've seen her score a head goal before. So that was phenomenal. And like I said, we've seen stranger things here at the Soccerplex, but now she has her 4th goal on the season and leaves the team with their 4th goal.
As you said, Matheson's 4th goal of the year, now 23 in her career for the Washington Spirit. And it was, I believe, Bonini making it happen.
Yeah.
Nice ball
in.
in.
Great ball in by Bonini. Galton was just a little flat there. I think she could have come back and maybe put a little bit of pressure on Matheson, but Matheson really snuck in behind there, and it was a great service in from Bonini.
So double change now. Stanton is on. I didn't see who came off, Danielle. Did you? Oh, it was
I did not.
Simon.
Okay.
Simon came off, and now the Spirit down a goal now are going to make a very attacking change. It's Farquharson for Kleiner here in the 78th minute, a forward for a defender.
Wait, yeah. Oh, Diana, I thought I saw Diana Matheson walking off the field. I was like, what's going on here? But then you see they put, Sky Blue does a good job at just transitioning Kelly O'Hara. Now they just really need to protect at this point.
So O'Hara's at left back, as you said, Danielle, and Stanton will just sit in and be an extra body in the center of that midfield. For the Spirit now, it's Farquharson on the left, Stengel in the middle, Dunn on the right. Matheson will move back into midfield. It's a 3-back with Huster and Lohman shielding that back 3.
Yeah, and this is certainly what the Spirit wanted out of the second half, getting that first goal, obviously, to continue and build maybe a little bit of confidence out of it, because it hasn't been their best showing this evening.
Bonini will sit a little bit deeper in midfield now as well, which she was already starting to do, I think.
Yep.
Trying to get on the ball a little bit more. Rodriguez, Kerr knew she was offside, didn't go for it. And all of a sudden, Danielle, we've got a ball game.
Yep.
2-1. 3 really nice goals
Yes.
from Rodriguez in the 8th minute, Kerr in the 63rd, and then Matheson in the 77th.
Certainly.
This is what rivalries are built on, games like this.
Yeah.
Lytle. Cross towards Kerr, headed out by Oyster. And this is the opposite of what happened the first time these two teams met. It was Washington on the road getting up 2-0 before Maya Hayes made it 2-1 for Sky Blue FC and put some heat on the Spirit.
Yeah. And like I said, we've seen stranger things happen before in the last 20 minutes. They're certainly able to put a ball in the back of the net. They still have plenty of time left. There's still 12 minutes of regulation plus stoppage time.
Spirit have used all 3 substitutions. Sky Blue FC has 1 left. Spirit squadron starting to get into it a little bit more. The bagpipes are, whatever bagpipes do, firing up.
Yeah, that goal certainly woke up the crowd here.
Huster. Krieger. Huster. Stengel. Joe Lohman. Zadorsky all the way forward on the left side, playing a good ball as well. Bonini brings it down to the box. Bonini trying to find a needle in the haystack and can't do it, and it's cleared.
1 versus 3. I'm surprised she even was able to get a decent first touch on the ball.
Matheson looking for Dunn. And the veteran Rampone will shield it out, as she's done 1,000 times before. Goal kick.
I really appreciate the change that Jim Gabera made here with just going to a 3-back. I mean, you're already losing 2-1. It doesn't matter if you lose 3-1. It really does not. So why not just throw numbers forward, see if you can get some more momentum going into the last 10 minutes here.
And I think this is where the versatility of somebody like Zadorsky, who's good with her feet,
Right.
comes in handy, because she can play the kind of that left center back and not be exposed, whereas a lot of center backs might not have the fleet of foot
Right.
to be able to pull that off. Oyster for Huster. And I think as well the experience that Huster's had as a defender comes in handy.
Yeah.
Dunn now. Into space for Katie Stengel, who's onside. Stengel on the right edge of the box for Dunn. Dunn takes a shot, it's blocked. Now they look for Matheson, who's already got 1 goal. Square for Bonini. Steps by Kerr. Bonini looking inside for Dunn, broken up. Fought for 1 back by the Spirit for Stengel. Stengel, left-footed shot blocked by Rampone. Farquharson fighting for it, but Skosky will clear.
And I think with the shift here for the Spirit, you're certainly going to find Sky Blue on their heels. They're not going to give up. They definitely won't with the lead that they have. But you're definitely going to find them kind of pushing back a little bit, keeping more numbers behind the ball.
Krieger for Matheson. O'Hara calling out a mark as Stengel comes through. Matheson for Katie Stengel. Krieger. Stengel. Matheson is onside. Matheson on the right edge of the box. Matheson's cross towards the far post. In comes Lohman. And I believe Stanton got a foot in first. It will be a corner.
Yep. That was very well done. And I don't know who it was for Sky Blue who was just deep. Matheson was certainly on sides there.
Matheson comes all the way over to take this corner kick from the left side. Galton's going to stay up and keep Zadorsky honest. Farquharson backing up. I'm not sure what why she's not getting in the 18 here unless there's a play on. Bonini at the top of the 18 as well. High ball for Matheson towards Lohman. Couple bodies fall in the box, and it's a foul against the Spirit. Oyster was the player down in blue and red, and it was Rampone that was down for Sky Blue FC.
Yeah, it seems as if it probably should have went the other way. It was 1v2, and somehow Megan Oyster ends up making the foul.
Yeah, I'll confess I didn't get a great look at that when I was following the runs in, but a lot of contact certainly from both teams. Just you're going to get that in that compressed of a space. Caroline Stanley into the night. Header won by Lohman. Fought for 1 by Bonini. Great effort here from the Spears. They push for an equalizer. O'Hara will knock it out for a throw-in. Up comes Krieger to take it. Stengel for Bonini. Now Matheson. Krieger. As Matheson is taken down behind the play by Stanton, will play on. Zadorsky. Farquharson. Now Oyster. We've said it, Danielle, 3 spectacular goals. Maybe the one that wasn't was the most spectacular, the diving header from Tasha Kai.
Exactly.
That was saved by Stephanie LeBay. But Sky Blue FC still leading 2-1 despite that stoppage of Kai. Leah Galton, a big reason. She has both assists. Fighting in the corner now against Megan Oyster. And out for a goal kick.
Really, at this point in the game, everything just really needs to continue. They don't need to panic, but everything needs to continue to build and go forward for the Spirit.
The focal point has been Diana Matheson.
Yes.
Krieger going long this time, looking for Dunn. Matheson now on the ball off the initial clearance from Gorubka. Stengel, who's done well since coming in at the half. For Huster. Bonini. Allie Krieger. Matheson with the chip for Dunn. Stengel turning inside. Holding off a tackle and finding Bonini. Matheson. Dunn wants it at her feet. Matheson will oblige her. Turn from Dunn. Cross from Dunn. Cleared. And out for a deep throw in, I believe. Spirit really pressing in the 85th minute. Down 2-1. Matheson's goal made it a 1-goal game 8 minutes ago. Dunn. Matheson. Beautiful ball for Bonini. And again, doesn't want to use that left foot. Right for Krieger. Turns it over. Got to use that left foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
From that angle, I think she certainly could have maybe curled it far post with the left.
Right-footed cross from Bonini. Headed out by Grubka. Zadorsky forward for Callie Farkason against Skrosky. The two rookies battling in the corner, and Farkason with a heavy touch out for a goal kick. The two games the Spirit have not won, excuse me, one game and then one they're not winning right now, Danielle. We've seen this in the last couple of minutes. The Portland game, a really good late push. Now a really good late push down 2-1 against Sky Blue FC. And that's good, but the first half, Sky Blue FC really dominated play, got that 1-goal lead, and forced the Spirit to dictate play now.
And this is what you're always going to see in any sort of sporting event. Everything is going to shift, and it certainly has shifted, I feel, for the Spirit at this point.
Kerr is fouled here, and that might be a booking. It will not be.
Well, you said how many times has he officiated? How many cards has he given out?
0.
Yeah.
You're right. But
it was definitely card worthy, I think. It was a nice, solid tackle. It was worth it, though, because it's a professional foul. It was slowing Sam Kerr down and not letting her get in behind.
Free kick for Killian. Going to play it short and keep possession through O'Hara. Now the cross played in towards Kerr, but LeBay off her line. Krieger going direct. Too far for Stengel. Caroline Stanley will race precious seconds before picking this one up. Rampone turns it over to Crystal Dunn. Open in the middle is Stengel. Dunn on the ball. Dunn's left footed shot deflected. Great save from Stanley. Still in play now for Farkason. Her cross is blocked by Skrosky, and now it's out for a corner.
There was a knuckle on that shot before it even made the deflection. Caroline Stanley did a great job at reading the deflection and just kind of pushing it wide of the goal there, and Farkason wasn't able to get much other than a corner.
So the push for an equalizer continues from the corner, and Matheson. Did you see it again? Like you said, wicked spin on that one from Crystal Dunn. Matheson's service. Headed out, intended for Huster. Bonini. Whistle here.
Another dangerous free kick
Foul
here.
against Leah Galton. Bonini waited for that one to come down and got rewarded for it, as it turned out.
Yeah, and that's like the biggest thing as a coach. Never wait for the ball to bounce.
So no Christine Darren here, who's been subbed out, so it's Matheson and Megan Oyster over this one. I'm not sure I've ever seen Oyster take a set piece from this course. Allie Krieger into the mix as well. Krieger or Matheson, both righties. Krieger steps over. It'll be Matheson chipping towards Lohman, headed out by Grubka. Popped high, not very convincingly there by Kerr. Kept alive by Krieger.
I think I would have liked to see Matheson go for it there rather than look for, the play in behind or the service. It's certainly in range for her to shoot. It was only about 20 to 25 yards out.
Sarah Killian was the player shaken up. She's okay, but will be a set piece here for Sky Blue FC in the 89th minute. Stanley. Flicked on by Galton. Megan Oyster for Washington. Dunn picking it up on the other side. Stepping by Rampone. Looking for help is Crystal Dunn. Inside for Stengel off the deflection. Now Krieger. Right for Matheson. Can she run it down in the corner? No. Out for a throw-in. Kelly O'Hara is throwing up the sideline. Kerr gets a piece of it, but it comes all the way through to Megan Oyster. Oyster dodges one tackle and works it back for Zadorsky. Spirit looking to push again in the 90th minute. Down a goal. Callie Farquharson, the rookie, against Lytle. Into the corner she goes. Looking for help. Has Zadorsky and will play her. The Canadian sets up the left foot. Plays across towards the far post over Bonini. And that hit the bar, I believe, on the way through.
It did.
Did not get the touch of Caroline Stanley and out for a goal kick. The all-important stoppage time about to be shown by the fourth official, and it's 3. 3 minutes of stoppage time. 3 minutes for the Spirit to try and get an equalizer after a great late push.
Yep.
Goals from Rodriguez and Kerr gave Sky Blue FC a 2-0 lead. Matheson pulled it back within 1 in the 77th minute, and for the most part, it's been one-way traffic ever since. Galton, who has both assists, working against Oyster, keeping it alive against Oyster, but Oyster gets a foot in. LeBay knocking it out. Matheson cannot keep it in play. Throw for O'Hara, who started it forward, is finishing at defender. Good match on both ends as it goes harmlessly off of Galton for a Spirit throw-in. About a minute spent of the 3 in stoppage time. Hit and hope time as Matheson gets on the ball. Finds Dunn up the line. Turn from Dunn against O'Hara. Chipping it up, looking for Stengel. Headed down instead by Rampone. Second try for Dunn. Broken up again by the sliding Stanton.
That certainly could have been a dangerous tackle from Stanton.
Tori Huster, the most experienced Spirit player, trying to pull off the probably unlikeliest of comebacks the Spirit have pulled off, down 2 goals. Matheson against Stanton. Inside for Crystal Dunn. Dunn dodges the tackle, stays on her feet, tries to play it across, hit by a couple players. Cleared as far as Huster.
Any other player,
I was about to say
they're
that.
falling.
Would have gone down.
They would have gone down.
Crystal Dunn's not going to do it.
Nope.
Matheson's cross. Farquharson. Farquharson's still fighting for it. Cleared again by Grubka. About a minute to go, give or take. And Zadorsky can't keep it alive. They'll throw in for Sky Blue FC, and this will be a good 20 seconds probably. Farquharson. Killian with the header there for Sky Blue FC. Kerr will just knock it forward, waste some more time. 30 seconds or so to go for Stephanie LeBay and the Spirit. Right it comes for Krieger. Launched towards Crystal Dunn. Won by Rampone. Second ball knocked on by Stanton for Sky Blue FC. Oyster and Kerr fighting for the 50-50 ball. It's Oyster bringing it down for Lohman. Lohman intended for Bonini. Stolen by Killian. Knocked clear again to Kerr. First touch lets her down, but Huster gives it right back to her. Kerr left for Galton. Step for step with Allie Krieger. Galton will go to the corner. Waste the last couple seconds of this one. Stolen away by Huster. Maybe one last push for the Spirit. Matheson chipping it forward. Stengel chesting it down, looking for help. Drops it back for Oyster. Oyster plays it left for Zadorsky. Oyster again. Huster. Stengel calling for it. It'll come on looking for Crystal Dunn. Headed down by Rampone. Here's Bonini. Bonini for Dunn in the box. Dunn playing it across. It's cleared by Grubka and out for a throw-in.
Yep.
And that will do it. Great final effort from the Spirit, but too little too late.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was certainly about 30 seconds beyond the 3-minute mark there. But like you just said, a great effort by Spirit at the end. If they don't give up that early goal, maybe it's going to be a different game. But they certainly came out with a better game plan in the second half.
As I said about 20 minutes ago, Danielle, this is the kind of game that rivalries are built on, that really competitive, intense game.
Yeah.
And now these two teams have 2-1 road wins in this series with 2 more to go.
Yeah, and this is what you're going to see. You want to see the competitiveness across the league, and this is something great. And I think really Sky Blue is reaching, a high point at this part of the season for themselves, and this is a big 3 points for them.
We talked about kind of the milepost at the midway point of the season for Sky Blue FC. Like you said, this is a result to build on. Now undefeated in their last 4, and they've done it against the 4 playoff teams from last year. Tied Chicago, tied Kansas City, tied Seattle, now beaten Washington.
Exactly. So they've gotten a lot of points, 6 points out of the last couple of games. So that's huge for them going into this midway part of the season.
Spirit suffered just their second home loss in the last 2 seasons. They'll have a chance to regroup the next 2 weeks at home against FC Kansas City and Chicago. They'll have to do it, of course, without their international players, the Canadians and Americans, off for Camp for Rio.
But then all the other teams don't have their Canadians or Americans as well. So, it'll be good for every team that's visiting here the next few weeks to see how lineups are going to change a little bit with all the players on their international duty.
So let's go through the goals again. Raquel Rodriguez scored a beauty off a cross from Leah Galton in the 8th minute, her first NWSL goal, and she couldn't have picked a better one.
Exactly. Yeah. And we had just said, maybe she's starting off a little bit slow here in her rookie season, and then boom, there she scores a phenomenal goal.
Went 1-0 at the half. Natasha Kai had the second best chance of the half, the diving header that was saved by Stephanie LeBay.
Yeah.
Then after the break, it seemed like Danielle, the Spirit, started to get their footing, a little bit more possession. Then Sam Kerr came on, and then the score changed again.
Yeah, Sam Kerr has a game changer for Sky Blue, putting them up 2-0 in that moment. But what I appreciate that the Spirit did, they didn't give up, and they continued to push. It, easily would have been able to give up in that moment, but they didn't. They kept pushing and got that goal from Diana Matheson.
Galton with her second assist of the night on that one. And then the Spirit really did find their footing. Some good chances. Matheson, of all people, scoring on a header in the 77th minute.
Exactly. I don't think we've ever seen that here at the Soccerplex, but it was a great finish. Stanley got a little bit on it, but just not enough to keep it out of the back of the net.
And then the Spirit, I wouldn't really circle another chance and say, well, that was a chance that would have tied it. It was just sustained pressure.
Sure.
Especially up that right side through Matheson, through Dunn, through Krieger. Highlights for you. Spirit got a free kick early as Francisco Ordega, who was subbed at the half, drew the foul. Spirit creating a chance here as it was Bonini, who I think had a good match to build on her goal last week, just couldn't quite find the back of the net tonight. That was the header from Kai that was saved by LeBay. Kelly O'Hara had a really strong match in the attacking end after playing outside back for the majority of the season. 3 good angles of that one from Kai. Stephanie LeBay forced to make a save there, did well to deny the opportunity. Another angle of that one that was cleared by Megan Oyster. Easy stuff there for Stephanie LeBay. Crystal Dunn had a lot of those tonight. Good shots that were blocked. Howie Krieger got forward well, forcing a diving course from Grubka, who had a really strong match, I think, at center back. Bonini, there's the cutback move she used for the goal last week, just not quite working out this time around. Crystal Dunn 1-on-5, drawing a foul there. Christine Nairn into the wall off that set piece. As she has now failed to score in her last 18 games, which is hard to believe with the season she had last year. O'Hara loose again, playing a good ball across. Natasha Kai wants that one back. That's a striker's chance right there. Couldn't quite finish that one. Crystal Dunn again, the focal point for the Spirit. And another block, this time from Rampone. Spirit squadron in good voice tonight, unable to see their team pick up 3 points, however. And credit to Cloud9 as well. The Spirit squadron traveled well to Yersack Field back in April. Cloud9 returning the favor, and like the Spirit squadron at Yersack, able to celebrate a victory.
Exactly.
Back into highlights now as Sky Blue FC got a corner kick opportunity here, forcing a catch from Stephanie LeBay. Stingle nearly making something happen. As I said earlier, Danielle, I thought that was a pretty strong 45 from her off the bench. Some of the better soccer she's played all year. Another cross from Crystal Dunn, another block.
I'm kind of waiting for Stengel to kind of shift into that high gear. It seems as if maybe a couple more games under her belt and she'll be able to change that, pace a little bit, change the speed of play a little bit.
Christine Nairn's service there, never really troubling Caroline Stanley. Bonini's shot forcing a save out of Stanley as well. This was the stretch of the game the Spirit really started to find their footing. But then Sam Kerr.
Yeah. Sam Kerr, everybody.
But Sam Kerr. 2-0 at that point. Spirit having to fight their way back into this one. LeBay with a juggling catch there. And quick outlet. Matheson trying to work it inside, but again, there's Grubka doing a good job to not allow Dunn to get through. Dunn again into the box. Stengel had a tough first touch there, tough angle. Stanley making the play off of her line. Matheson on corner kick duty with Nairn out of the game. Into traffic. Dunn was the target there. Here's D-Math again with another serve. Over everybody. And Kerr doing the strong defensive work to clear. This was the goal. A great ball from the left side. Matheson just put it low and put it on frame, and good things will happen. 2-1 game at that point in the 77th minute. Bonini found herself tangled up there, couldn't get a clean shot off. Matheson kept on side there, playing a good cross in. Volleyed over the top by the defensive work of Stanton for a corner. Here was the subsequent corner for Matheson. Tangle in the box. That was where, Danielle, we thought we might get a penalty. So Oyster was taken down from behind. We see on the replay. But as we said, Leszek Stalmach, not a guy that calls a lot of fouls. Hasn't issued a card now in 3 games this year. Kept the whistle in his pocket there. Free kick chance here from the Spirit. Matheson choosing to chip rather than shoot from 30 yards out. And that was finally cleared in the end by Sky Blue FC after Krieger got ahead on it. Spirit continuing to push in the final minutes. Ball off the bar on the early cross. Dunn and Bonini combining once again. Dunn on the end of it, playing it across, hoping to find Katie Stengel, but cleaned up again by Rampone. And that's where we stand, Danielle. The Spirit losing their second game at home in the last 2 years. They stay for now in 4th place on 17 points, 5-2-2 on the season. They do have that match in hand when everybody but Houston.
Right, exactly.
Sky Blue FC now leapfrog Seattle. They're in 6th place now on 13 points, 3 wins, 3 losses, and 4 ties. Both teams in action next Saturday. It'll be the Spirit at home against FC Kansas City at 7 p.m. Eastern Time here at the Plex. Out west goes Sky Blue FC. They'll battle the league leaders, the Portland Thorns, at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. West Coast time. Again, both those games on July the 2nd. Scoring summary once again for you. Rodriguez from Galton in the 8th minute for Sky Blue FC. Kerr from Galton to make it 2-0 Sky Blue FC in the 63rd minute. And then Diana Matheson getting one back for the Spirit in the 77th minute. Final score here from the Maryland Soccerplex. Sky Blue FC 2 and the Washington Spirit 1. For Danielle Malagari and our technical team at MCM, I'm Michael Minnick. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and good night from the Plex.